Well, I consider it a major answer to prayers, even miraculously so. And it's too bad it took so much effort. But I think the Lord is telling me that fraternal correction is what I need to do. And yes, it does take effort. And I did spend quite a bit of time this morning, even if Skylar was not really listening too well. But he did come. I can't believe it. And FrancyRay's prayers, because FrancyRay was she really understood. I think a lot of you did, but sort of have to be in a position. But it just happened so much to me in life. But Cory's out there, right there he is. He has worked so hard, and he got those stumps all done out. He ground them out deeper than I ever thought or would have thought they would do. A great job. He took out the big roots. He even took out the roots. All the way over to Twisted Sister, he took a root out on that side. On the other side, Skylar, when he did come and wanted to see what I was talking about, and it was quite easy because I left the pitchfork on one side and the trencher shovel on the other, and I just tapped around. It was a good 3 to 4 feet circumference of stump still. And he says, "Well, but we were afraid of we didn't want to hit electrical wires." And I said, I took care of that. I said, I cut the stump out, the root out that's over there. I said, if you just do the stump, I said, I figured I would have to do the roots. I said, it's very hard for me, but I'm doing it. I'll just do it slowly. But I said, I already got the one that would be a danger. And I didn't expect them to get near that wire. I'm prepared for death. I had a death experience, so it's fine. If I had hit that wire and gotten electrocuted, fine. But I was careful. I used a short blade and just cut the root itself. The cable was down deep, and I stopped before it even got to the part of the root that went over where the cable is. So, but he was, I'm old. I taught high school kids. I taught some college courses, master level courses. I'm telling you, the adults were worse than high school kids, trying to get out of their assignments for these adult courses that I was teaching at University of San Diego. Oh my goodness. But it's human nature. That's what happens. But yeah, so I'm used to it, that kind of stuff, and people trying to get away with things and whatever. But Cory really did a beautiful job. And thank you, FrancyRay. The prayers were answered by God, Holy Spirit, and Jesus. I'm grateful. So Cory noticed my crucifix, and he showed me his crosses. He has 3 crosses. He wears one for each daughter. He has 3 little girls. Yeah, I found this out about him. I went out and took some ice cold water to him. And that's when he saw my crucifix, and he wanted to show me the job he did. And what a beautiful job he did. And he apologized. He says, and I said, I'm not blaming you, Cory, because I said, I know that some other person called your boss and bullied, demanding to get put in first. So you had already worked at least 6 hours. on somebody else's job who wanted to push in. And so you didn't even get to my house. And then you worked another 6 or 7 hours here. Of course you were tired. And I said, it's just too bad it happened. And I said that I had Skylar listen to me this morning. Whether or not it made a difference, I don't know. But, and he says, oh, I heard about that you called. And I said, yes. Because I said, right is always right. And I said, thank you for doing such a beautiful job. I said, it means so much. And I tried to shovel off some more stuff to show, how I admitted I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it. I'm too old and it's too hot. I had forgotten that I can't function well in the summer. The heat, I just can't. So, bless his heart. And I'm grateful to Skylar for following through, coming and doing it right, having Cory do it. And so Cory showed me his 3 crosses. He has 3 daughters. I've got their names. He was thrilled that I'm going to pray for his daughters and for him and his wife. So I've got Kira, Jolene, and Haley Ray. And I just thought it was very sweet. And I told Cory how that I'm the 3rd of 3 daughters. And what a wonderful dad he is. Of his 3 daughters to wear a cross for each one. And he really cares. So see how it works out. But it does take work, doesn't it? I pray and ask God and Holy Spirit and Jesus. And I ask the Virgin Mary, I'm her maidservant. Please teach me, Mary. See, Mary will teach us. Mary will guide us. Mary will instruct us. Mary will pray for us. I'm asking her to teach me and show me how to do things right, not get so upset, not to get so frustrated. See, Mary would have stayed calm. She would have talked with Skylar, and she would have insisted that he come and do the job right. And would have given him suggestions. I talked to him about this. Leadership is empowering people. And it's God who empowers. God teaches us how to be leaders. And part of being a really good leader is to follow Jesus, and to do right. Right is always right. To pray to God, to love God, and to do what we're supposed to do. Do our jobs well. So Cory has done a beautiful job. He's out there raking it all smooth. If I feel better tonight when it cools off and I'm able to go out there, if I have enough time before, because I gotta go to the dog park and take these balls that I bought for this woman from France whose little dog Marshall, Lovey, ate the ball. So I've got to get the balls to that lady. I got her 2. One for Marshall, was one of her dogs, and one for Tommy is her other dog. And then we're going to get, this other woman is going to bring this basket muzzle for Lovey. We'll see if he'll adapt to a muzzle. So they're being very, the dog park people, that's very nice of this woman named Jen to say that she says she has 5 muzzles, and she's very happy to donate one for Lovey, so that he won't be able to have a ball in his mouth. And then he won't get his intestines all messed up. God has answered the prayers thank you, FrancyRay, for praying. For praying that this stump situation got resolved. And it certainly has. I'm just so relieved. But maybe it needs to take energy and effort to deal with the battles of life, to do fraternal correction, and to, insist somebody come back and do it right. Took energy, a lot of energy. And yesterday it was upsetting to realize, what was it? This is, and over the weekend, I recognized before, just dealing with this. I've been making the phone calls. Finally got through, and because of prayers. FrancyRay and some of you others been praying. So grateful, very grateful. We can't do it ourselves. I just couldn't do it myself. Even handling the situation, I reached the end of my limits. I was tired out from going off to war. And yes, I could pull myself more out of the temporal world. And then you have fewer issues, don't we? But then I wouldn't have met Cory and found out about his 3 daughters, Kira, Jolene, and Haley Ray. So, and about Cory and how he wears a cross for each of his daughters. Oh, we had sort of a little Christian fest out there. And he said, I wanted to do an extra good job for you. And then he says, I realize that you're one of us. And I said, yes, we're all in this together. We're all believers trying to do right. And I do see the workers were put in a rather impossible situation. Not only working in heat, but they were already had squeezed in another job on them. So that's what I talked to Skylar about this morning. And I hope he listened. I hope he'll, but you don't understand, he'd say, I said, I think I do. They call and they bully and they threaten that you'll lose their business. And I said, it's worth it to lose someone like that because you'll gain that many more by someone like me then, who will spread the word. And now I'll spread the word, but I may have to add on, that you'll have to be emphatic with the scheduler, Skylar, that not to squeeze in other jobs and not to let others bully you out of position. And to get the job done right. The workers, I really could understand why they would give up, but that they said nothing. That's what got to me, was that they tried to hide it over. And Skylar was out there, so he was in on it. He was in on it, probably said, oh, just cover it over. She'll never notice. Who knows what he said, but could be. We get like that. See, I know because as a kid, I've done bad things before. And I know how humans are. Like I said, you wouldn't believe what these master level students would come up with, trying to nag me down from a simple assignment for a master's level course. All they had to do, I wanted them to read 3 journal articles and do a brief review. I brought in all of my journals, education journals. I had piles of them. I said, so you don't even have to go to the library if you can't get, if you're too busy. Because they were complaining, oh, I gotta go to the library. I'm talking about people 30 and 40 years old, already had their undergrad and were teachers, wanting to get their master's in administration. and griping about a simple assignment like that. Basic recall and comprehension, regurgitating, doing a little synopsis of major issues in education at the time. This was back in 1987. So they even could have taken, in fact, they did take my journals. I never got them back. It was okay. I wanted them back at the time after my surgery. I didn't realize I would never be working again, never be in a school district again. I was undesirable. Their insurance didn't want me, for one thing, not with a serious back surgery. But as it turned out, I was unable to work ever again. So my pain problems. Oh, pain, I can't be consistent. Like today, I am done. It will be an effort just to get the dogs to the dog park. And it's cooler tonight, so. Well, I just wanted to say just what an incredible job and how beautifully it turned out. He's got it all raked out, and on the other side, he's raking it, but he's leaving a hole so that I won't have to dig much. I will have to augment with soil, obviously. I can't plant the tree down in wood chips, but he's leaving a hole for me, so I don't think he can see. Maybe a little bit through that door over there. He's out there working hard, Cory, the dad of 3 little girls. And he's proud of those girls, which is wonderful too. You know, a lot of men, they want a son, and it's sort of a thing. Sometimes can be a thing for some men. They're not satisfied if they don't have a boy. So, if I find a dad with 3 or 4 girls, or even there was a woman who bought something from me not long ago. It was last Christmas. I've been trying to sell off stuff, and she said she was pregnant, and she said, well, it's the 3rd. She said, it's the last one for me though. She says, my husband wants to keep trying, but we're having another girl. And I said, well, I was the 3rd. I was the baby in essence that you're having. That's going to be your 3rd daughter. And I said, if you want to know, it turned out I was very close to my mother. My mother so appreciated me. And I said I was the one that was with her in the end, in her last year. And we were always very close. So I said, good for you having a daughter. I said, you don't know what's ahead. Something very beautiful for you and for your husband. So because her, she was like, oh, 3rd girl, he wants a boy, he wants me to have another, and I'm done. I don't want to try again. And I thought, that's just, I understood, but still, that daughter, who knows what she could end up being. The dad might be indeed very, very proud and pleased. I pray so. That baby's born now, I realize, and I hope he's pleased. So Cory certainly is with his 3 children. Haley Ray is the 3rd one. So, well, enough. I'll stop. God bless Cory, and God bless Skylar. And God bless all of you who prayed. And thank you, FrancyRay, for sharing about your brother and the blessings that he has had for being a great person to his customers. Read in the comments. Her brother Pat gets all the cars from the rich and famous of Ireland. Want him to do their cars because of his fine work ethic and his being a great person to deal with, honest and hardworking. Always someone they can trust. So what a difference it makes. He would have no one of us having to call and hassle. Cory said they had a very difficult woman this morning, older woman this morning. It was right on all the time. Do this, do that, do this. And I said, well, I know you know what you're doing. I said, you guys were given too much to do when you were here. And any human would have. But I said that I didn't go into, that had Skylar said, we'll be back tomorrow or we'll be back next week. We couldn't finish. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't have squeezed in that other job on your day to have the work done. So, see, it's this communication, and like I say, right is always right. And it's hard to do right. I know. I've fallen many times in my life when I wouldn't think I ever would. And even if I had warnings, the devil can be very, very deceptive and tricky. Just another addendum. I'll stop. I tend to talk too much when I'm in pain, when I'm not feeling well. Just, distraction. But I just find this, see, here's a miracle. Here's a miracle. And I pray, I want Mary. I'm not praying to her, but I'm asking her to remind me with these situations and to teach me, to remind me and teach me to keep my cool. I don't need to get so worked up and so upset. Just deal with it. Do the fraternal correction. Be firm, be persistent. But I expanded myself. I wore myself out with upset. And also, I didn't have custody over my thoughts and my tongue. I was getting nasty. I was getting frustrated and overdoing it. I didn't stay calm and peaceful, and I didn't show trust in the Lord in that way. I was mouthing off. So, things always to learn. Much love to you all. Thanks again.